Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Micks Mowers. And today's episode we're going to take a little look at a little job lot of three I just picked up. Very cheap. They are in quite rough condition. They were in even worse rough condition until I jet washed them off. I think that's why I got them so cheap, but I never looked a gifted horse in the face. A little paint job here and there, a little bit of doing up, a little bit of spit and polish, and they may be up for sale very soon. So have a quick look at them. Also, I've got some parts in I'm super impressed with for my Ransom Marquis with the sloper engine. The float on the Ransom I repaired soldered. It's not having it. It keeps leaking. So I managed to find on eBay a gentleman who's selling a sloper engine, which is non-working, just the engine itself. And I emailed him up and said, would you be willing to sell a few bits off of it for the same price you're selling the engine? And the engine was dirt cheap. He said, yeah, no problem. So I got a brand new, second-hand carburetor, and this is the 379121, the exact same carburetor that's on mine. It is missing one part, which is inside here. There should be a little tiny foam filter in here, which I've got. So it's missing that. All the choke works as it should do, and he's even given me the throttle handle too, and it's one of the original ones too. So well happy with that. And I've already had a little sneaky peek, and this has got a little plastic float in here, so that's brilliant. So well happy with that. I saw one of those sell on eBay just the other day, just for carburetor, was 80 quid. And that's nowhere near what I paid for these parts in total. I've got a bit of spare fuel line there, I think I just come in with it. I also got a new tank. My tank's okay, but it is in rougher shape, and my tank's got a yellow cap. I want the black cap, but this is a bit I was after, that piece to set. Which I was struggling to get hold of. So I've got another tank. This tank is not too bad. It's probably in better condition than mine. I might just fill it up with Coke just to do that. But also, it's got an original brass tap for it, which I've already got. So I can possibly sell that one on, or put it on the punch, one or the other. But they're worth about 25 quid plus they are. So I've got the corks for those. So happy with that. And at long last, it's not the one I wanted, but it will do for now. I have a exhaust for my lawnmower. This actually says Villiers on it. This is called the eyelid one, which is not the right one. It should have, this should be blanked off. It should have a little spout out here. I'm looking at one on eBay at the moment, and hopefully by the time this video comes, I might have one. But for now, this is better than what I've got. Mine's got a big hole in mine. So this will do. So yeah, well happy. And I think I paid about 40 quid the lot for those, which is worth the money all day long. As I say, a carburetor went for just £80 just the other day. I couldn't get anywhere near it. People were bidding on it like crazy, so there you go. So that's what it is. If this is your first time you're watching Micks Mowers, hit the old subscribe button, whack the old bell, set notifications to all. That too, I've done a video, or in fact on my Saturday night weekly live stream, which starts at 6 PM UK time. So without further ado, let's get down and dirty. Let's check out this little job lot of free mowers I've just picked up, see what they look like. I haven't even tried starting them yet, and we'll see how we get on. Right, I've got you on my little roaming tripod today. I managed to find my new tripod and case for this. So this is what we've got. We'll start this end. This is a 414 with an RS100 engine. I like these. I like these a lot. Get a lot of people say they have problems with them hunting, which they do. They do hunt very well indeed. So that'll probably need a carburetor doing on it, no doubt. But it looks clean. I jet washed it all off this morning. It looks really clean. Happy with it. 2012 model, so that's cool. This one here, RV150, which has had a conversion done to it. So it's got a split tank and split pull cord, not the all-in-one. In really rough shape, but the deck is solid. So this will be hammerited if I can get it to run. It's got drive as well. So does the little Mountfield here. That's got drive as well. Well happy with that. And then I picked this one up as well for the same bloke. A bit rusty in places, it's only paint flaking. I might just get a bit of red paint, touch it up where I can. Or I do have some red Amorite. I might even Amorite this one as well. We shall see. These are just me cheap mowers. I paid a tenner a piece for these, which is nothing. That's a push mower, and these two are both drives. So that's cool. So we'll get this little growing in first. Take it apart, see if we can't get it to start, all that sort of good stuff, and see how we get on. Right, I just put a little bit of fuel in this one, just so I can't get it to start. Yeah, fuel in there. Might get a bit of wind interference. Still waiting to get the money for my microphone. Doesn't sound like it's priming to me. No, not doing a lot. Governor arm all works. Nothing. Let's get it in the shed and have a look. Right, so these little RS100 engines are notorious for not working right, as in hunting. There's no air filter in these. I have a spare air filter just over here somewhere for this. I know I do. I've seen it. Got a stripped one just the other day, so that's not a problem. Let's put a 10 on here. I'm missing a socket from somewhere. It'll show. Just want to see what the old carburetor's doing. It could even be just a spark plug. Maybe I should have gone in there first, but we're already here. Let's put them bits in there. Just want to see if this is actually priming or not. Got a gasket on there which is in good condition. No, not priming. Not priming at all. So there's nothing coming through the carburetor whatsoever. So let's take that off. Bulb's in good condition. Yeah, that's working. So obviously we've got a blockage on the carb somewhere. The carb is absolutely filthy. So first I'm going to do is going to take some forceps. I'll bring my tool bench a little bit closer. So that's zooming across the old shed. Set of forceps just to knock that fuel off. And a set of pliers. Long nose would be good. Just to try and take this fuel lead off. This fuel hose. It's got a bit of a split in the fuel lead I just created, so I'm going to have to be a bit careful here. Take that off. Let's just check the flow of fuel. Yeah, we're getting fuel down. So it's not the actual flow of the fuel through the pipe, and the fuel is good because I just put it in there. I want to get a set of pliers, and we want to remove this throttle linkage, governor arm and the spring, and the carburetor comes straight off in your hand. Nice, quick, simple and easy. Let's get it over the bench and we'll have a look at this carburetor. Right, we're back to how we used to do it with the little tiny tripod, and that's how I prefer to do it on these. Nice and close for you guys, rather than come over my shoulder. Let's take this little tiny one out here first, undo that, and then crack that. Let's see what we've got. We get a pair of gloves on, just to stop any further dirt getting in. I'm going to fire my compressor up in a minute as well, so we can clean this carburetor off fully. Now, I've had lots of people asking about these little RS100 engines on my channel, saying they've got problems with hunting and surging, and you've got to rim this main jet out on these. The fuel inside here is yellow, and the fuel in my tank is white, see-through. So just be very careful with the O-ring. It may not come off in one go. I don't think this one's going to. Caught well on there. We might have saved it, we shall see. Let's just push it back into its housing for now. It stinks of fuel. Yeah, carburetor bowl is disgusting. And we've also got some nice bits of stuff in there as well. Let's get my carburetor screwdriver, take the pin out, take the bowl out, float comes out. It smells in here of varnish. Is that going to come? I think it is. Yeah, it's coming. So for a tenner, nice cheap little old lawnmower, plenty of room for profit. I'm just going to punch the tube out from the centre. It drops down. You might get a bit of a tap to get the tube out, and possibly run a little bit WD-40 up into the tube just to get it to start. And there's not a lot of stuff coming through that tube at all. The tube is well stuck. It's got to come out, so just keep moving that tube backwards and forwards. All I'm doing is poking a screwdriver straight way down through, just to try and loosen that tube up. It's quite stiff in there. If not, you get like an Allen key in there or something to push it down. It's got to come out. It can't stay in there. So let me get an Allen key or something similar. Sometimes I get quite good results with having my dental picks in the right sort of format with a bend on it, and you can just literally hook it in there and push that tube out, and there it is there. Okay, let's look at the tube. Yeah, gunked up just there. That one's blocked, so that's no good. And the hole to the main jet is also bunged as well. Okay, there's nothing in there. So that's the jet I'm on about with these RS100 engines. You've got to rim that jet out. So get hold of your file. These are only about £2 or £3 off of eBay. Get hold of a set of these off of eBay. They're brilliant. Right, they're called gas nozzle cleaners or something. And find the one that fits. Now, there'll be one that doesn't fit, and there'll be one that is too slack. You want the one that's too slack. Okay. I think is this one here. I think. There it is. So that goes in, okay. And that, just literally work the file around. Now you're not looking at taking material off of this jet, okay. You're looking at just really cleaning this material out, all the dirt that's on it, and just taking, you know, just cleaning, freshening up the walls of this jet on the side. So I'm just rotating the jet round whilst moving these files in and out, okay. So I'm not actually filing it out, as in making it bigger. And now we've got an unblocked jet, which is lovely. And a nice big hole that goes all the way through it. Yeah, happy with that. So I want to go just a touch more now that's unblocked, because if you don't unblock them correctly, then they're still going to hunt. And sometimes I've had these carburetors off 3 times before it's actually successfully done it. So now literally just going to clean the side of a wall of that jet off. Okay, just taking my time. And just slowly cleaning the wall of that jet off. Good. Bit more WD-40. Notice I'm not using carburetor spray. And that's a nice big solid hole. I don't know if you're going to see that in there, but that's a nice big hole there now. Okay. All the way through. And then the same process, slightly smaller file for the tube, and just go round each and every single hole that there is on this tube. And we're just looking just to not take any material off. We're looking just literally to clean. And there's about 14 holes on here. There's those ones there, and then there's a slightly smaller one, a smaller 3 above it, which is this one. I might need to clean, just to snip this part of the file off, because this file is well used and got a slight bend in it. So let me just snip a bit of that file off. It's not doing its job anymore. I'll get another set. I've got 2 or 3 sets of these somewhere. I do go through them though. They're going to go in there now. Bear with. There it goes. That's better. There's one there. And just repeat the process throughout the entire tube. Quite small and fiddly. Right, don't want to go in there at all. There it goes. There's that one. And you've got another one here. And another one just up above it. And there's one on its own just down here. It should be the same size. That was blocked. Yes. That was blocked. That's that one. That's a two on its own. And then you've got one at the very top, just up here as well. By using that technique with the files, you can then get your WD-40, put it on the top, and you can see now that's now starting to run. Of course, my WD-40 is low, like it always is, and now it starts to run. And then block the end hole up. This one here, block that up with your finger, and then that'll encourage more flow through these little tiny ones here. So open it up. Lock it up. That's that one done. Okay, that's the jets done, and then obviously you just want to encourage some stuff through these here, through the main holes in the carburetor. That's going out the side. I can see down here. Lovely. One out the top. Beautiful. And then your fuel inlet. Back down through the tube area. You've got one down in here. And that's about your lot. You've got a slow running jet also on these. I'll just take these out now, I don't bother counting these, but it's about 2.5 threads in. You can always adjust it when you kind of put it back on the machine. About 2.5 threads hanging out is enough. Just want to give that a bit of a clean before I do anything else with it. Let me just file my compressor up, because what I don't want to be doing is introducing any dirt into these jets that I've just cleaned. Okay, so I'm going to get the top out of the way. Let me clean it off the compressor and I'll come back. Right, I've just cleaned that top of that carburetor off, just around that slow running jet. Now these are pickles, okay, and they like to break, so go very, very gentle with these. Do not rush it, because you can't buy these jets separately, because they've got little O-rings on them and they like to fall apart on you. And if it falls apart on me when we've had it, note, no using carburetor spray. Well, that's come out and the little tiny O-ring is on there, it's intact, okay? So this is where you don't want to be using carb spray, because these little tiny O-rings, they expand. And once they expand, no good. So this has got a little tiny jet on here. So I'll now try and clean through, which is blocked. So again, we get our little tiny file system in and just try and run that in as best we can. A little bit of air compress straight through the top, just to help it, and then we go again. I can now see the top of a jet, which is handy. Yeah, that's now running. There it goes. In here, you can see it running out the top of the jet. There you go. That's now clear. If we don't have that right, it won't idle. Okay. So now we can put some WD-40 down through here as well, where this idle jet come out from. And it runs out the bottom. Get my air compressor. I'm now going to compress the holes that we cleaned out earlier. If you don't have a compressor, you can buy compressed air, which is not as good, but it does do the job, okay? So with that slow running jet now cleaned, that's the first to go back in, okay? Because you don't want to be mucking about with that too much. It goes in and pushes down. And that's that slow running jet now put back into its place. It has to go flat against this edge here, okay? Once that's done, you can then pick up your little tiny screw, and that goes back in to its little tiny keeper. That's your idle screw, okay? Idle jet, idle screw. Start it off and then literally see it come out the other end of a housing, and you want about 2.5 threads, give or take. As I say, we can adjust this a bit later on. It's going to be roughly about there. If it runs too fast, we'll just back it off a touch. If it runs too slow, we'll just wind it up. So that's that, straightforward and clean and done. I may have to renew this O-ring, we'll see. It's a little bit lipped here, but the bowl may push it down. So that's now clean. I want to give the old bowl a bit of a happy birthday. And get a wire brush for that. Small wire brush, like a toothbrush. And just clean that bowl up. Yeah, it is rusty, but you can save them. These don't like bad fuel, they hate it. And it puts people off buying these little RS100 engines, but I like them, as I say. I keep on saying I like them a lot. They're a good little engine. Just for home use, not for professional use. Get a rag, now I'm right out of rags, this is my last rag. I need to buy another big multi-pack of rags. I might stick it on the old Amazon wish list. See if one of you guys wants to pick a bag up for me. I'm right out. Bit of a scrape up with the old dental picks, just to get rid of the old stubborn ones. And all I'm doing is just removing the rust spots. This actually isn't too bad, this bowl. Bit of a blowout with a compressor. And that bowl's not too bad, it's come back okay. So that's pretty good, happy with that. Gonna blow off the float as well, minding you keep hold of a needle. You don't want to be losing that. And then, I don't want to handle this too much, I've got a bit of dirt on my gloves. That goes back in, into the little tiny fuel inlet. The pin goes back in to there, all the way in. Give it a blow test, make sure the float is down. Nothing. Lift the float. Working. Shot a WD-40 all over just to wash it off. Happy with that. Tube goes back in. Little tiny longest spout bit goes in first. Followed by your main jet, which has been cleaned. Just double check it. Yeah, nice big hole. That goes back in. In you go. And then just nick that slow main jet up. Doesn't have to be done up like He-Man, it's just got to be well seated, okay? If at any point you feel it's not running like it should do, back it off and go again. It's only brass, so don't cross thread it. Right, that goes in. Then we got our bowl. Now, when you put this on, this is your main feed coming in, okay? Your little tiny 8mm bolt wants to be the opposite side of it. So you can undo it to bleed the carburetor through. So it wants to be looking like that with your feed in and your sub bolt there, okay? So let's just put that bowl on, and I'm going to put the main nut back on, which has got a little tiny fibre washer underneath it. Put that on. I'm going to nick that up with a 10mm spanner, not with the old D-wart. Because what will happen is you'll do it up too tight and you'll strip that thread right out. So just do it up, and then a little tiny nick is enough. A little tiny dabba-doo, yeah? And that's that carburetor now done. Let's get it over to the machine and see if we can't get it to prime. Okay, back on the machine. Now this is the time of year what I like to call silly season. Okay, this is where everybody is selling mowers, and they're selling them for absolutely ridiculous money, cheap as chips, and I can't compete with these prices for fully serviced mowers. So this is what I pick up this time of year, around June time. I pick up some nice cheap little mowers. They don't cost a lot, but I can let go for a bit cheaper money. You need to snip the end of that fuel line off, because I put a very, very small split in it. So I've got plenty of room to spare. So we're going to go down to where there's some good bit of pipe. I'll take about, oh wait, there's a split there, I can just see it. About there. Take that off, and then just bring that bit of pipe round, and then fit on there nicely. Hook that up. Get a pair of longer pliers. Here goes a 10mm. Always with me a 10mm drops on the floor. Hook that up. You can now do up that 8mm flooding bolt, do it up slightly so it doesn't leak. And then just push that fuel line on. There's a little bit of slack to be had, not a lot. That's enough. And then the little tiny clip can go on just to hold it in place. Be about there. Yeah, that's about as much as I would like to go. So that's now on. What we can now do is bring in the priming assembly. And I'm just going to fit the priming tube onto this part here. Let's move that gasket out of the way, I don't want to lose that. I'm just going to fit that to it. Push that on, and now by looking through the front of the carburetor, you'll see where the tube goes up. You can now prime this, and we're getting loads of fuel. Yeah, plenty of fuel coming through. So we now know that we now have a priming working carburetor, okay, which is good. No fuel leaks. So I can now do that little tiny 8mm up because we have a carburetor that's working. Don't have to flood the chamber. And it looks like that O-ring is going to be okay because I'm getting no fuel coming, no fuel dripping down here. So the O-ring is going to be good. So that's all right. We can now put this gasket back on, which will go that way, like so. And then we've got the this little spacer. That's got to go back into there, like so. Fit your priming assembly on, and then you've got to fit your airflow as well. So spin it all the way around. Airflow goes on the back of the engine when it lines up with the bolts. Sort of one movement, make sure it all goes on together. And that's all on. I've got to find the air filter for this as well. I do have one, I know I do. I've seen it. I see it the other day. There's a cover for it, for a spare one. So I've got to find the filter for it. It's knocking about. I know it is. I have seen it. I'll dig that out in a bit. It might be in my air filter bags actually. I've got a big bag full of old air filters. I say this isn't going to be service. This is just a get running mower. Do that up. Do that up. I've got to find the air filter in a bit. I won't sell it without one. Is that priming? Yeah, priming. Click that on for now. I'll find the air filter in a bit. I've got a big bag over here full of them. So, right, we've got a bit of fuel in the machine. We've got filled up carburetor now. That's now fueling as it should do, which is good. I'm going to check the oil, which is over the other side, and then we'll take it outside and try and run it up and see how we get on. It may hunt yet, we shall see. Right, here's the first one. Let's see how we get on. No leaks from the carburetor, which is good. Give it a prime. Let's see what happens. Go, and that's how you do it. RS100 engine Mountfield 414 with self-drive for a tenner, and all I've done to it, done a carburetor clean, which has taken about 5 minutes. I will check the plug, give the plug a clean, all is fine. I've got to sharpen the blade as well just to make sure that's done, and put an air filter in it, and this little mower's good to go. And hopefully she'll sell for pretty good money this time of year, although it is silly season. There you go, little RS100 Mountfield lawnmower for a tenner, all up and running. It is as simple as that. But with those RS100 engines, I cannot stress enough, you've got to just clean that main jet out and spend 2 or 3 minutes just literally running the files up the side wall of the inside of that jet, and you won't have the hunting issues. Lots of people say they've tried it on and off, on and off, on and off for carburetors just to no joy. I use WD-40 and just a little bit of elbow grease just to run that main jet and that tube in. And once you do that, them little lawnmowers run sweet as a nut. And it's got power drive as well, which is an added bonus, so it should sell for a pretty little penny. Lots of room for profit in there. If this is your first time watching Micks Mowers, hit the old subscribe button, whack the old bell, and set notifications to all. Any comments you got, leave them down below, and also you'll find down there my Amazon wish list. Feel free to buy me any tools or any spare parts that I need to run my channel, because it is expensive, and it does help out quite a lot. I look forward to seeing the next episode of Micks Mowers very, very soon. But until then, people, don't forget, more importantly, take her easy.